Today we're talking all about VPNs. We're going to get into what a VPN is, how to use a VPN, what situations you would use a VPN for, how people are using VPNs wrong, and some recommendations on what is the best VPN to use. So let's get right into it. So the first question you might have is, what is a VPN? So VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. And what this means is it's taking your device, and when you connect to this VPN, it's virtually putting it on a different network. This was originally created when businesses needed their employees to be able to work from home. If I connect to a VPN, then that brings my computer at home virtually onto the corporate network, and I'm able to access any of the resources on that corporate network. This is not as important anymore as a lot of tools for business have gone online. So they're really accessible from anywhere instead of just from the office. So you don't see a ton of VPNs in use in the corporate world anymore. But there are definitely situations where some companies still use a VPN, and it is still a valid way to connect to those corporate resources. Now, a lot of people will use VPNs just when they're in their home, browsing the internet, and most of the time that's really unnecessary. They do this to basically privatize their network or internet browsing. And what I'm going to say is that whether the VPN company has that data or your internet services provider has that data is being recorded somewhere. So there is a kind of false sense of privacy when you do connect to a VPN. It just means your internet services provider is not getting that data, but instead the VPN company is getting that data. A lot of VPN companies say they deleted or encrypt that data, so there can be some privatized features with whatever VPN that you choose. But recently there was a news article about a free VPN company that had all of that data, and they were hacked, got that data leaked. So again, if you're thinking your browsing is completely private just by using a VPN, you definitely have another think coming. So if you follow any court cases or any criminal activity, you can see how much data is actually still stored and what the police can gather from search history and other data from the different devices that they have seized. So don't give yourself a false sense of privacy by thinking just by using a VPN, all of your browsing history and everything would be completely private. So generally, I don't recommend using a VPN just for home use or for browsing use, but here's where I do recommend using a VPN. If you're connecting to any public Wi-Fi network, so say you're at a hotel or you're at a coffee shop or anything like that, I highly recommend using a VPN, because what this will do is take your device off of that public Wi-Fi network. And when your device is off of that network, it's less likely that anything that you are doing on that device would be compromised by anybody else on that network. So for example, if I'm at a hotel and there is a hacker at the hotel, they are on the same network as I am, and so it's easier for them to compromise my device. But if I'm using a VPN, it virtually takes my device, puts it on a different network, and then I'm a little more protected from any of the other people on that network that might have some bad intentions. So whenever you're on a public Wi-Fi, definitely recommend using a VPN. Another valid use for a VPN is many parental control apps that you install on phones or a computer actually use a VPN to connect to this protected network. And so the protected network will give the device its different controls and different things that you want the device to be able to do with that parental controls. So with that VPN, it kind of enforces those restrictions onto that device. So if your parental control app does use a VPN, that's okay. It is completely valid. The other use for a VPN is actually when you are gaming. So something happens when you are gaming. If you make somebody mad, if you're doing an online game, they can kind of try and reverse engineer your location based on your IP address. So they can attack this IP address and send it DDoS attacks, which is called distributed denial of service attack, which will essentially bring down the internet of your house just based on your external IP address. So either don't make people mad in games, which I don't know if you can really prevent, or just use a VPN while you are gaming. And then that is going to basically change your external IP address or hide what your external IP address is. And so they will not be able to attack that IP address because it is not actually your home IP address. And then the last valid use for a VPN is, as I mentioned before, connecting to your company. If you need to use a VPN to connect to corporate resources, again, totally valid. I would absolutely be okay with that use. So what are some other ways that people are using VPNs? The first is to circumvent parental controls. As I mentioned, some parental controls use it to bring that device onto the protected network. However, if you're on a protected network that has parental controls built into the Wi-Fi, then a kid can use that VPN to bring it off of that Wi-Fi and remove itself from the restrictions of the parental controls. So if your kid wants to install a VPN, I would highly recommend not letting them do that, because again, that's going to take their device off of this protected network and put it on a not protected network. So a lot of kids will talk about how at school they need to use this VPN app to make their phone a little faster while they're at school, but really they're just trying to circumvent the restrictions that are placed on the school's Wi-Fi network. And then the other thing, adults can circumvent parental controls too. Not necessarily parental controls, but restrictions. So Utah and several other states have created laws that require age verification for certain adult content sites. Now, some of these adult content sites are restricting access to those different states. So if I'm in Utah and I try and go to one of these adult content sites that are restricted, it's not going to let me. But if I use a VPN to pretend I'm in a different state, then I can circumvent that law or that restriction and access that content. The other way adults are doing this is if I want to watch my San Francisco 49ers and the game is not playing in my area, I could potentially connect to a VPN to pretend I'm in the Bay Area and then access the 49ers game from the Bay Area. Not that I would ever do something like that. So then how do you use a VPN? Basically, you just need to sign up for a VPN provider. Now, I use NordVPN. I've researched a bunch of them. I found that it had the most features that I wanted, the easiest to use, and I really liked the price points too. So I choose NordVPN, but there are several others to choose from. I would highly warn against using a free VPN service. You get what you pay for. As I mentioned, there has been some news articles of free VPN services storing your data, getting that data compromised, and things like that. So you don't want to go with a free provider. You want to go with somebody established like NordVPN. So you would just go to NordVPN or download the app and sign up for an account. They do have a free trial, so check that out. I do have links in the description for NordVPN. Once you download the app, either on your phone or on your computer, then all you would do is open it up and connect to the VPN. You can choose from various servers, so you can choose the location, like I said, the Bay Area, or you can choose a different state or wherever you are choosing to browse from, or you can just have it auto pick a location, which is fine as well. So again, if you have content that's restricted, like via Netflix, to certain countries, you can use this VPN to pretend your device is in this other country to view that content. Not that I would recommend doing that. So once you open up the app and connect to your VPN, all of your browsing and everything is going to act like it's from that location. If you want to stop using it, you can just disconnect from the VPN. You can have it auto connect to this VPN, like your computer when you boot up, or your phone. I usually like to set that when I am traveling so that I don't have to remember to connect to the VPN and it connects up right away. So that's all you need to know about VPNs. Hopefully you got some use out of this. Definitely give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, or reach out to me, Family Tech, on any social media platform. I do answer my direct messages. If you have a specific question that you want me to answer, feel free to reach out and I will get that answered for you. We'll see you next time.